I read House of Sons by Alistair Reynolds, and it was a great book. So let's get into it. By the way, I absolutely love the cover art. It's so good, shiny, great design. But so the book is set 6 million years in the future, and it follows what they call a Gentian line. And this is someone who in the past split their consciousness into 1,000 what they call chatelains, and it's like a male and female, and the memories are passed down from line to line, and they all share memories between each other. They don't really have planets. They live among the stars in their like super advanced ships that have AI, and they do like 200,000 year circuits or 200 kilo years around the galaxy, just collecting knowledge and technology and data and like helping other civilizations grow, and they kind of like see them rise and fall in what they call turnover. They don't experience all of that time. They go into what they call abeyance quite frequently. Otherwise, they would go insane. But yeah, the book starts with a flashback, and you see one of the members, I believe the main character, and it kind of follows her youth and what she was going through building up. And right from the beginning of the book, I was quite invested. It was a very strange world, a strange setting, and it immediately hooked me. And all of the Gentian line, which is the line we follow in the book, have the same memories of growing up in this house that it's always changing, like growing on itself. It's kind of weird described. Like, so we follow Purslane and Campion, who are two chatelains that are running late for a reunion. So like every 200,000 years, the chatelains regroup, and they kind of like share their experience and their knowledge of the universe and what they've seen and heard and learned. And it takes like years, decades for them to all arrive at the same place. But apparently they're running late, so they're like trying to get there on time. They come to a planet to try and kind of like this unknown planet that they don't have a lot of data on, to try and buy ships, but then they get ambushed, and long story short, they escape, but manage to rescue what is called a machine person, and they're like the only other sentient race in the galaxy. There's loads of other races, but they're all like post-human, that were human at one point, and now they don't really resemble humans anymore, but they still are. So we see this get introduced to Hesperus, I think his name was, and I found him to be a fascinating character. But as they're going back for this reunion, there is an attack, and then that kind of, it kicks off the story, and they try to figure out the entire mystery of why they were attacked and what's going on, who's trying to wipe out their line. So the middle part of the book takes up a lot of this investigation, a lot of mystery and intrigue. I found it to be a little bit slow, but still very interesting. We meet something called the spirit of the air, which was really fascinating. It's like this consciousness that was once human and like has somehow merged the machine, and it's been alive for tens of thousands, I think it was millions of years actually, just forever growing and evolving and becoming like almost just leaving the physical realm behind and going further and further into like this massive entity, almost a deity. So when they come to this random planet, everyone like fears and worships this thing. But it was very interesting, the direction that went in. So the characters I found mostly very interesting. It wasn't one of the strongest points of this book. I thought Gentian line were mostly interesting. They're very distinct, and I liked the way they all reacted to the situation that they find themselves in. But I really loved the machine people. We were introduced to Hesperus early on in the book, and then he goes away for some time, and we meet two other machine people. And yeah, all three of them, we only really see 3 machine people in the entire story, but I found all of them very convincing. There are other characters that we kind of meet along the way throughout the story, and other entities, should I say, and they are mostly very interesting in a kind of more of like a kind of world building way than rather like a character way. But still, that brings me to world building, which is my favorite aspect of this book. And there's just so many ideas in this book. There's some great ideas in here. So for example, like the lines all specialize in something different, and because they've been alive for so long, unlike all the other civilizations that rise and fall over thousands of years and millennia, or battle like galactic empires and die out, or die to a supernova, or some sort of extinction event, whatever it may be, but the lions survive through all of that. So they have a lot of technology, and one of them is their ability to protect civilizations from stars. So the book opens up with the Gentian line repairing a broken star dam that they've put around a unstable star that's gonna wipe out a civilization. And there's other lines that do other things, like they move stars away from this civilization before it goes nuclear. Then there's the spirit of the air, which I mentioned earlier. All of the crazy planets that they kind of mention very briefly. There's like, the way this book uses time especially is crazy as well. Like, it will go through hundreds of years or decades, or sometimes even hundreds of thousands of years, just so casually mentioning loads of information that I found that really added to the experience and made the world feel really very real, very tangible. Some of the ships also felt like characters to themselves as well, which I didn't mention in the character section, but Silverwings could actually go in there. Silverwings is a good character. But yeah, the very idea of the lines I found to be very fascinating and intriguing. We also have like these flashbacks throughout the book. At the beginning of each part, I believe there's like 8 of them that go back to the childhood of the 𝐒𝐤𝐬𝐿𝐼𝐼𝐼𝐿𝐼𝐼, and they start playing this weird game, Palatial, I think it's called. But yeah, this game was very fascinating, the way it worked. It's literally connected to your mind, and you can go inside, and there's like a AR or VR kind of experience, more like, where you can see these people, but you can literally go inside their mind and live the character, and it actually feels like you are them when you're playing the game. And it's really detailed, and you're playing out these entire lives. And it was like a little fantasy world and miniature fantasy book inside this sci-fi epic. But it kind of tied in a little bit to the main story. Not that much, or maybe I need to think about it more, but it was really interesting. Yeah, there's other things that I'm sure I'm forgetting, like there's crazy revelations at the end of the book. There's an amazing third act where there's a chase through the galaxy that spans tens of thousands of years, and it's just exhilarating. The way it's written is just so interesting, and it feels realistic, and there's like a crazy fight as well. I can't even get into it without spoilers, but I was really satisfied with the direction this book went in, and with the ending, which made me give it a 9 out of 10. I think it really was that ending that makes me give it a 9, because it just wrapped up for me personally very satisfyingly, and the journey, almost all of it, I think that there was like some lag in the middle for me, but almost all of it was interesting. There was a lot of mystery, the world building was amazing. I didn't talk about the writing style, but it was good. Not amazing, but it was very good. It wasn't like confusing. Some of the descriptions could be confusing because of the technology was so advanced and some other stuff, but mostly it was very easy to read along and easy to follow. But yeah, I'd definitely recommend this book highly. Maybe not as your very first sci-fi book, or maybe you could. Like I said, it's not overly confusing, but there are very big ideas and concepts in this book. But yeah, House of Suns, and I'll see you next time. Peace.